Do y'all remember? You remember that period of time where people said "shut the front door" as some sort of exclamation of surprise?
It's just fucking "Let's Go Brandon" for other nerds. That's all it is.
Thank you. That's right.
Just fucking say it. Jesus Christ.
Wait, say what?
Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out of here. Shut the front door.
Do you think that, you claim to be religious, do you think God's that stupid? If you are claiming that God is stupid, anybody that says "Let's Go Brandon" thinks that God is stupid. Well, I don't know. It's it's a loophole. I know I wrote
I think you're making a giant leap.
Welcome to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
Saw Mark. He ordered he had 2 beers. That's why he's not here. Sleeping one off.
So Mark's just fucking hammered.
Yeah. He had 2 beers when I left, and one of them was a tall boy.
Laying on his couch shirtless with the remains of a Zonk burger sticking to his chest.
Screaming at Dana.
Taking swings at the dog. Know what he's doing?
Yeah.
Cigarette dangling out his mouth, a big pile of ash on the floor.
Yeah.
Next to a big pile of vomit.
And there's an ashtray, but it's like, it's like you'd have to get up off the couch to go get it.
He's trying to ash and empties, and occasionally he drinks like one of his empties with ashes in it.
God takes
it on Dana. Clean this shit up, Dana.
God damn it.
Fucking damn it. That's him. That's, you know what?
That's the guy.
That's the real
know.
Mark.
Yeah.
That's right. I feel like people, there's this, kind gentleman who assists with this wonderful creation, but he's not kind. He's a tyrant.
People think he's he
cruel.
Only says the word "hey." That's the only word he knows.
Yeah.
No. He mistreats animals.
He knows every bad word, and he's thrown them at all of them at me.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one.
And you deserved it only 80% of the time.
The A word, the B word, the C word, the D word, the E word.
What is the E word?
Yikes.
The F word. That's, never a sentence. That, because he doesn't know how to go through a whole sentence without saying the F word.
No, that's Mark all over.
The G word, the H word.
Oh.
What is that?
HE double hockey sticks.
I don't want to use it because I'm worried that they'll pull our podcast license.
Yeah.
I mean, not anybody can do this.
Have we thanked? We probably did in the last episode. Thank all our Norwegian listeners. We are doing better than Ted Cruz's podcast on a certain. Oh, that's not just Norway.
That's Norway. That's the worldwide. We're doing better than Ted Cruz's.
We're doing
podcast
better
on Good Pods.
Good Pods. We're doing better than Ted Cruz.
Yeah, that's right, Ted Cruz.
Right.
So
come
fucking
at us.
Suck it, you piece of you fucking nerd. You fucking nerd. I'm talking to you like Mark talks to me. You fucking hook nose weirdo. It's not hook nose. He's got like a what kind of nose does he have?
I don't know if that's okay.
Yeah,
He's got
I don't
humans.
either. After I said that, I was trying to make
a slur.
I think so. Yeah.
I was trying to make fun of his nose.
The Norwegians are going to lose a lot of trust in us if we use language like that.
All right. Well, maybe we cut that. But you fucking goblin little prick.
There we go. Yeah.
That's okay. He's kind of a goblin. Yeah.
You goblin. He's a goblin cock.
A goblin cock.
He's got a goblin cock for a face.
Mm-hmm. There is a group of 14-year-olds who are forming a band called Goblin Cock right now.
There is a band. There is a working band called Goblin Cock.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Of course there is. It's a good name.
And remind me who stayed in Texas during the Texas blizzard last year? Who was
I
that?
did.
I did.
I stayed
was
in Texas.
Here. I believe Mark was here. Who wasn't? Who ran away to Cancun? Who was that?
Fucking Ted Cruz.
Oh, it was Ted Cruz.
Yep.
Man, if anybody votes for him, they're a fucking loser. You're a loser if you vote for Ted Cruz. I mean, I say it right now. Yeah. Anyone listening, you're a loser.
Well,
INS official.
We might lose 0 listeners for saying that. Might lose 0. I could have left. I could have left the state during the freeze, but I chose not to. I chose not to.
Right.
But I just want you guys to know that I could have. I think that makes me seem better, like a better
Take
person.
Your personal chopper.
Yeah. Oh, guess what I saw? This is so exciting. It's exciting for you, Mike. I saw when I've been out of town. When I got back in town, I saw the Austin Chronicle, which for the listener is a weekly that gets put out here. Similar to any number of a weekly rag. It's a newspaper that you pick up when you go get a Subway sandwich at the overpriced sandwich place. And on the cover of said Chronicle was one Michael Wiebe.
Yes. What?
I haven't read the article yet, but it's going to be cool to see you talk about INS and might do some cross promotion. That's going to be awesome.
I bet it's all over that article.
It is on the other article that I did.
Like the other article, but not the one.
Yeah, the Tribeza. They didn't ask me. It was very specifically about a location and a show at that location.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
you talk about Zambuza or Alakazam.
That's what the fucking article is on. Excelsior, and you know it's Excelsior. You know it's not Zambuza. That's the first time you've ever even said that. It's not Zambuza. It's Excelsior, and that was what the whole thing was about. But
you talk a lot about that Alakazam or Excel. You talk a lot about it here on this podcast where we're talking about the news. So I just assume, are you saying that you don't even mention it?
Do I talk about it a lot here? We have a specific section for plugs.
Right, at the end. I assume that in the end of the article, that's where there would be, if you're interested in seeing more from Michael Wiebe, check out.
Well, you know what? I'm sure that I haven't even read the article yet. I'm sure I'm sure that I've seen the cover. I haven't read the article. I'm sure there's a thing where it links to my link tree.
Sure.
And that would have a link to this.
Right, to your GeoCities page
it's not a GeoCities, it's just a link. It just would link to our Facebook page.
Angel Fire?
Yeah, Angel Fire. That's good.
This is my Reddit page.
I'm giving you a hard time, Mike. I think it's pretty fucking cool. And it was. I had no idea it was. My lovely wife had seen it out, and so she grabbed a couple and put them by the door. I was like, oh, how fucking cool is that? Way to go, man!
By the door, like with the garbage.
No. I'm trying to be.
They'll all be in the garbage on Thursday of this week. They don't let anybody on that thing. Just a couple people every week, single week for free.
Think about all the homeless people your face is keeping warm right now on the cold streets of Austin, Texas.
My face has been used as toilet paper, wiped on some ass.
Well, it has in this house for sure. So, no, man, you should be. I won't say proud because I don't think you'll allow yourself to feel that. But
no, my parents beat that out of me at an early age. There's nothing I can do that can ever make me feel good about myself.
Imposter syndrome? Like if I was on the cover of something, I would feel like I did something wrong.
Well, if you were on the cover, I would assume you had done something wrong.
Okay, that is true. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you should feel that way if you're on the cover of Mugshot. What is it? What is it called? Mugshot?
Mugshot, yeah. Child Murderers Weekly. It's I don't want you on the cover of that, Kevin.
Yeah.
Too late. Check the newsstand next week, Brian.
That's right. And this super predators.
Miss the day and age where there's a whole bunch of places that you could go, and there was a half a mile long wall full of magazines. There's a magazine for every conceivable thing that you could be into.
Wasn't that the 90s?
I agree with that.
I think I miss it. It's probably better environmentally. We all have our places we can go for our things online. But man, I do miss, you find out because I feel like now when you're online, you kind of keep finding out about the same things. And that was a cool place to like walk by and go like, what? That naked girl has a Glock? Well, maybe I'm into Glocks now.
Maybe, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uzis, floozies, and jacuzzis?
We already used that as an episode title.
That doesn't matter. It's a magazine.
It needs to be a shirt. It needs to be once.
Doesn't need to be a shirt.
I need to learn how to do graphic design, and I'll make this podcast some serious dough.
You'd pick up an issue of Thrasher or Transworld and flip through it.
Yeah.
And then go look at all the music stuff, and maybe there'd be a flip side. Like if you were to place, like, oh man, this place, you grab that.
Yeah, you got Fangoria.
Yeah.
Gore Zone.
See, I didn't get any of those.
Starlog.
The Asimov sci-fi reader.
I think that still exists.
In paper form?
Yeah.
I would pick that up and look at it and never fuck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stories where I couldn't get into a 40-page story in the middle
some
of the bookstore.
The story that's literally written in binary code. And you have to fucking what?
Brilliant.
Nerd.
So you guys ready to get started here?
What are we doing?
I think so.
Welcome to the International News Service. We're your hosts. I'm Kevin Harrison, along with...
I am Brian Camp.
I am Mike Wiebe. And where is the Gray Shadow? He's called that because he was the Gray Ghost, but then he found out that Bill Cosby used that title in one episode of The Cosby Show. So he changed it to the Gray Shadow.
Oh.
Mark Ryan is not here.
Surprise.
Oh, no.
Surprise.
So
A little too drinky, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Glug, glug, glug.
Yeah.
You know what I have to say to you, Mark? Put a cork in it, rummy. Put a cork in it.
You guys ready for our first story here?
Hell yeah.
Is there anything momentous about what we're doing today?
Well, we'll get into that in our first story, but we'll get into that in our first story here.
Okay.
So this first story comes to us from the journal Current Biology, and then I did some side research into an article in Science Alert.
Current? What's the
like electricity current?
No, like recent biology. Current.
Recent? Oh, biology changes that fast?
Man,
I thought.
Quick.
Where is that on the Walden Books shelves?
It's in between Fangoria and Transworld, apparently.
So, as Brian was saying, and as you know, as the listener knows, because they pay attention.
Yeah, the good listeners.
This episode marks the start of our second year of INS.
Woo!
Whoa. Year number 2.
It already paid off with that Chronicle cover.
Yeah,
true.
That's true.
That's right.
That's true. That's part of, the M-Dub brand is a growing empire.
It is.
So our first story is a callback to the very beginning of our first episode last year.
Whoa.
Now, when you say callback, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
That's an industry speak, but Kevin, you explain what a callback is. A CB, we call it when we're...
A CB, sure.
It means that we made a reference to something a long time ago, and now we're recalling that reference and making it fresh again.
We should work that in to some of these a little more often. Is that something we should be looking into?
We've never done that before, have we?
No, I don't think so.
There's nothing you can do about how we've never done that before.
It's like a reoccurring character on SNL, Saturday Night Live. We're pulling back. This is a church lady. Wayne's World. You know it. You love it. You saw the movies.
Hey, Mike, I'm making copies. Oh, no, you're making copies.
Yeah, I'm making copies.
That was so funny.
Superstar.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened.
Cheerleader.
Yeah, falling down.
I fell down.
I'm clumsy.
Hey, I'm a fucking big football player that guest hosts a show. Guess what? I'm dressed like a girl.
What?
So at the very beginning of that episode, Mike told a story about... Now, if Mark was here, I would ask him to play a clip. So, Mark, if you're listening, maybe we can play a clip or something here.
I hope he's listening at some point. Come out of his stupor.
Mike, can you just kind of refresh our memory about what you talked about at the very beginning of our first episode?
You are. I think we both know I've forgotten what I talked about literally 3 minutes ago. I have no idea.
That was a big ask. Yeah.
About the dolphins, the fishermen.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know where this is going. The first episode, I had this Spanish class, and like nobody wanted to be there, of course, because it was high school Spanish and high school in general. One day, the teacher, the disinterested teacher lady, she puts on a video that was about, I believe, Paraguay, some country in South America. I don't remember.
Let's say Ecuador.
Some country with a coast for sure. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about the
Paraguay
GDP.
Doesn't have a coast.
Well, yeah, it was a country with a coast, and they talked about like the GDP and traditions and holidays and this and that. And they got to a part where there's this fisherman, and out of nowhere, he says that when they're fishing, sometimes they pull up dolphins in their nets. And that the dolphins have, the lady dolphins have parts like a human lady, and sometimes they like to take them and, quote, have a little fun with them.
Oh, no. Mate, this was all a mistake.
It's every time I hear it, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I apologize to my mother. I apologize to our audience.
This was high school. I wasn't seeking this kind of entertainment out yet.
Right.
And I remember like looking around and everybody was, it was film time. It was probably I think it was the last class of the day. So it was like everybody was exceptionally disinterested. And, most people had their heads on their desks, so they were gossiping about whatever. And it was like, and I'd not paid attention to most of this, but at some point there was just nothing else to do. So I happened to catch that and just frantically looking around at the room for anyone else who might have seen that. And there was like one or two other people that we made eye contact, just wide eye contact, just big old giant saucer eyes of like, that just happened.
It's a weird thing to hear all the way back in high school, which to our international listeners is grades 9 through 12 or 10
I believe
through
this
12.
was grade 11. And this
grade
was grade 11
of public school. It's weird to hear something like that long ago. And then as far as I know, at least I have, because I've heard the story from you before.
Yeah.
I have never heard reference to something like that happening ever again. And it seems like if you heard about it in high school and it was shocking, like most things, like, oh, that's crazy. Like we talked about the story of Rod Stewart, right? And
yes,
and what happened to him with the stomach bumping, right?
Yes, yeah.
Right. But we've heard that many times.
And the reason why they couldn't get all that out is sticky.
It's very sticky.
Very sticky.
Very sticky. That's right.
Some of it might have just dried up in there. It was a big hard ball.
Yeah, like glue in the cap.
Yeah, glue keeping just a hard ball together. Because this story was never specific. Did they rush him to the hospital immediately after that happened, or did it sit around for like a week or something? Because I'll tell you this, and this is not new news. If you've heard anything about people that are nursing, but I have a friend. I only bring it up because it's direct. I have a friend. She's a comedian, and she's also a nurse, and she posted an Instagram story that was like, I'm supposed to get out of here at 2 a.m., but we'll see if that happens, because it's going to depend on how easy it is to get something out of this man's ass. And it turned out it was a 10-inch dildo that had been in there for a full week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's messy.
Like maybe you think it's going to work its way out, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't go to the hospital for this. I bet he thought, sooner or later, this mass of fluid that is gumming up the works, as it were, will work itself out. And it just never did. I bet that
never did. Probably. I wonder if sometimes it just starts like working its way in further. You cough and you're like, oh no. Don't make me laugh. Please don't make me laugh.
Don't make me laugh. That's right.
So back to the story. Just as I was putting the stories together for this, for the episodes this week, and this is a complete coincidence, several researchers published a study called, and I quote, "Evidence of a functional clitoris in dolphins."
Well, that guy from that video 20 years ago could have told you that.
It was like 30 years ago.
30, whatever. Whatever.
Right. Did he seem like he was happy that the dolphins enjoyed it, or was it more about his enjoyment? Was he a giving lover?
I think he was probably more focused on himself.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, dolphins can't consent, and so I want to point that out that we don't.
I think we need to come out against bestiality. I think.
We are. Okay, we'll come out. We'll come out against bestiality.
Any kind of interspecies romantic entanglement, we are against.
Sorry, Oregon.
Dolphins are really smart, and I think if they wanted to, they could. If they wanted to, but they don't want to. Is the point? They're too smart to. They're too smart to do that. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to.
They're too smart to.
I'm not going to diminish a dolphin's capacity for that kind of a thing. It's a fact. No dolphins don't want to be out of water at all, just to begin with. Much less.
What, they love jumping out of the water.
Well, they don't want to be.
That's their thing.
They want to be lying upside down on the side of a boat.
Right. They want to be in charge of when they leave the water and re-enter the water. That's their decision.
And they definitely don't want a fucking fisherman with one tooth and a horrible look in his eyes having fun with them, quote unquote fun with them. I don't think that's fun.
Hey, Kevin, I have a question.
Yes.
A second ago, you said clitoris. I've always said clitoris. Is there a proper? Is this another?
I have heard both, and I've never investigated which is more proper.
Well,
I think.
Well, there's your problem.
We'll let our listeners vote on this.
I say I'm probably the authority on that because I've seen the most pornography, and I go back to the classics. The movie Deep Throat, when Harry Reams says to
Linda Lovelace.
Is she Deep Throat?
I thought she was Deep Throat.
I think she is Deep Throat. When he says, when Harry Reams says to Linda Lovelace, he says to her, "Ma'am, you have a clitoris in your throat." So it's, I think, clitoris, because Harry Reams said it that way.
Yeah, that's true. He would know.
Okay.
He was a doctor.
Well, he went to pornography college.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also in Florida.
Also. Very true.
For reference for our male listeners, my co-hosts are married, so they don't need to know this. The visible portion of the human clitoris is about the size of a pea and located just above the vagina in the urethra, though much of it is hidden under a hood of skin and in the pelvis.
I knew that.
Well aware of that information.
I knew that.
Sure you guys were. Sure you were. So the dolphin clitoris...
I'll fucking draw it for you right now.
Yeah.
It would be as good as your Garfield drawing?
Better, maybe. I don't know.
And all right, next sticker order. If it's you, and you're not sure what that object is, you can rest assured it is Mike's drawing of a clitoris.
I can do that. I'll draw that.
The dolphin clitoris, on the other hand, is larger and located right at the vaginal entrance. Researchers said this meant that during copulation, it would be nearly impossible for a dolphin penis not to stimulate it.
Oh, okay.
Like humans, female dolphins copulate all year round, not just when females are ovulating. In fact, bottlenose dolphins have been observed taking part in orgies where male and female dolphins use their snouts, flippers, and flukes to rub the protruding genitals of their peers.
What's a fluke?
The fluke is like their little, little fins.
I think.
Yeah.
I think it's their weird side fins. They're not like fish have like fins that kind of go.
Yeah.
To the listener, I'm moving my hands up and rotating them side to side.
Yes, and Nemo had one deformed small one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nemo was a fish, not a dolphin.
That's what I'm saying. When Brian did the fish symbol, and I was saying Nemo had a small one.
Thank you.
You know, people relate to cartoons.
The team then examined the sexual organs of 11 naturally deceased female dolphins and found an abundance of blood vessels, nerve endings, and erectile tissue that would likely engorge if with blood if the clitoris was aroused.
Well, they're mammals. Do not all mammals have that same part? I assumed that.
Believe it or not, the article got into this. There has been very little study into female mammal genitalia. They all seem to have some kind of clitoris. But they were unaware that even they could receive pleasure from it. Like this is kind of the first time that's been established.
The science community is very square. They're
very square.
They can be a bunch of real eggheads. Mm-hmm. And hold on though, I gotta say this: they were a little too. There's a little too much effort in saying 10 naturally deceased. They fucking killed those dolphins to go look at their pussies.
Yeah, they did. I'm sorry. I have to agree with Mike. I think that's the most likely.
They killed those dolphins so they could go dig around in their hoo-haws.
Mm-hmm. Knowing what we know about scientists after this last year, what we've learned about the different scientific pursuits.
Yep.
The greed involved. Here it is.
Yeah. They're like, you know what? Hey, we could ask these dolphins if we could see their front butts, but let's just kill them.
It sounds just like a scientist. I don't either.
I have a story about scientists and dolphin genitalia. We'll get to it at the end of the story.
Well, let's go. Hey, man. I just want to see what's in them fur burgers. Go get me a sawed-off shotgun and a bucket of mackerel. Yeah, you can you can cut those motherfuckers in half. I don't care. I just want to see what's in a dolphin hair pie.
Is the mackerel for them or for you?
For the fish. They get them to come up and then
They're mammals. They're not fish, but
they hold up a fish.
Mm-hmm.
The dolphin comes up and then one of them has a fucking Klingon broadsword and just swings it as soon as it comes up and kills the poor beast.
It's like their version of skeet shooting.
Yeah.
They probably kill hundreds of dolphins a day.
Scientists skeet shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So much of the dolphin clitoris tracked very closely to human biology, to which one researcher remarked, quote, "Since the entire pelvis of dolphins is so different to humans, it was surprising to see how similar the shapes were. Dolphins also apparently have vibrant sex lives. In addition to orgies, dolphins have been observed using the sandy floor of the ocean to masturbate, and they have even been seen using sex toys in the form of dead fish and wriggling eels."
Well, now maybe they're the bad guys.
Hold on. How are you going to do that?
I'm not a dolphin.
What, with a dead fish?
Yeah, or a wriggling eel. How are you going to get? Who's doing that? Who's helping put? Yeah, that takes manipulation that they do not have the limbs to do.
Maybe you got a partner. You got a friend.
What if they smash their bodies against the eels and against the sea floor? Which, again, makes the dolphins kind of the villain in this scenario because the eel may not be into that, right?
Yeah.
Well,
eels kind of suck, though. I mean,
do you know if those dead fish were naturally killed? Or did the dolphins kill the fish just to use them?
I think the dolphins probably killed the fish to use them.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like this is all a cycle of violence.
Have you ever heard of John C. Lilly's Dolphin House?
Oh yeah, no.
Okay, so go to. I'm telling our listeners this too. Like, go to YouTube and look up Atrocity Guide, which is the channel, and then Dolphin House.
No.
So this guy took this like beach house and then he flooded the first floor of it so that dolphins could live there. And then he built like a little platform and put a researcher there. And then her job, and this was somebody who worked for the National Institutes of Health. I want to point this out. Like, he was a legitimate medical doctor. And then her job was to teach the dolphins to speak English, while this scientist, who had no contact with her, put an isolation tank in the floor above, and he would sit in the isolation tank and try to psychically communicate with the woman. All while everybody did massive amounts of LSD, and the story also, and ketamine, and the story also has a lot of interspecies foot jobs.
Oh.
It is maybe the craziest thing that ever happened in the 20th century.
I was fine with all of that until the last sentence. I don't see anything wrong with fucking getting dope. You know what? You ever been rolling? You ever been rolling at a Lollapalooza? I mean, that's one of the best times you could have. Fucking get those dolphins high on LSD and blast a little Jane's Addiction underwater. Coming down the mountain. If dolphins hear that, they'll start doing that thing where they come out of the water, but they're still their tail's in the water, and they just kind of like do that where they back up sort of thing. I would say they should let those dolphins do LSD and then come have the Jim Rose sideshow circus come in and watch them, like, you know, pick up a keg with their genitals and stuff like that, which was a thing that you could do with circus. There was a thing called the Lollapalooza, and there was a circus sideshow, and this fella, he would, I believe there were like some hooks in his scrotum, and he would lift up a keg with him. And at some point, after doing that many, many times, it ripped.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Did his balls fall out?
I don't think so. Eric Sprague is the lizard man, and he's a friend of mine now. He's the guy. He's got cover. He's a completely tattooed.
Tidwell used to work on that guy
from head to toe, and he's got like sharp teeth and a split tongue and stuff. But so he knows all those circus guys, and he has lots of crazy stories about that shit.
So, Kevin, did this article ever answer the question of why Ecuadorian fishermen?
Yeah, what's that going on?
Like
what's going on?
This it says a lot about dolphin on dolphin stuff.
D on D.
Yeah,
which people are into. It's a search term.
So our next story comes to us from the Washington Post.
Wapo.
South Korean officials have put out an official arson warning to pet owners, stating that your cat might burn down your house.
Fucking assholes.
The warning came after a number of house fires in the city of Seoul were attributed to cats, with nearly half the fires started when the owners were out of the house. Officials have advised that cat owners ensure their cats are unable to access appliances when left home alone, that stove knobs should be removed or locked with protective covers, and that they keep flammable objects such as paper towels away from their cooking devices. It is estimated that in the last 3 years, at least 107 house fires in Seoul were caused by cats and led to 4 human deaths. Officials did not state, however, how many of these fires were deliberately started by the cats.
But most, isn't this just a clever cover story for an arsonist? Like,
yeah,
like
just that house has a cat. Let me sneak in.
Yeah, he dresses up like Cats from the movie Cats.
Yeah, sure.
And he goes full, because they did a cut of that they CGI'd buttholes on all the cats in that movie. Yeah. That guy for sure paints on the butthole, and he creeps around, and he's just a firebug.
Well, maybe he puts like a half-used box of matches underneath the litter box when he leaves.
Yeah, yeah.
And when they investigate, they find evidence of.
Yeah, maybe. He's framing the cats.
Yeah, he's framing the cats.
I don't know. I could see a guy dressed up as a cat named Phoenix, and he's just like, Phoenix wants to watch the world burn.
Mm-hmm. That's Phoenix talking into his webcam as he reviews it on his screen.
Yeah, he reviews cat toys when he's not burning shit down.
Right.
Oh.
It's weird. Like, it's weird because like he's like the triads or whatever Korean mafia. They have to like hire him to do like jobs, to go like burn other people's stuff down. And he's just like, oh, you want Phoenix again? Okay, well the cost is gonna be a kilo of catnip. I'm like, okay, right. Like, and he's like, I gotta test it out. They give it to him, and he like opens it. Of course, like has his claw, just rips it open with the claw instead of opening it. Like they do whenever there's cocaine in the movie, they just stab the shit out of the package of cocaine. And like, oh great, now you're gonna fucking spill coke everywhere. You know what? Coke's worth money. But he stabs the thing and just starts, and just like these serious gangsters are sitting there, and he's just on the ground, like rubbing his genitals with his legs up in the air, going, "Oh, Phoenix likes this shit. This is some good shit. Meow. You gonna come pull Phoenix's tail?" And they're like, "No, we're fucking scary gangster guys. We're not into that at all." And like, well, meow, I guess I'll go burn some shit down. But know that you can come by and pet Phoenix whenever you want to, and maybe he'll let you. And then he'll like sashay around real quick and show his ass in the air, like walk around all gyrating his ass with a drawn-on butthole on his cat outfit and a big tail that flops all over. And just so dramatic, like jumping on everything and just hand splayed and also doing songs, lots of like cat style songs. I'm gonna burn down a house, burn down a house, burn down a house, burn down a house. Got silver. He's got like sparkly silver tap shoes. Occasionally somebody will come home to their house on fire. He's like, ooh, what happened? I don't know. Ooh, what happened? Gotta go. And
we have all these reports of fires, and there's a tap dancing cat out front of almost all of them.
And he's very intent on showing that he has a anatomically drawn on cat butthole over his orange spandex outfit, because it's an orange cat, Yeah. Oh, Phoenix is orange.
The police are happy to go along with it just to get closure on the cases. They don't want to get involved. They've just closed 107 arsons out. I'm just imagining some mob boss with his two goons gets delivered some bad news about a rival gang. Get me Phoenix.
Get me
and like
Phoenix.
the two goons just
no.
Oh, come on, boss.
Oh, come on, boss. No. Go get him. A meow. You need Phoenix again, don't you? He's just licking his fucking hands while they give him the job.
the whole time. Just grooving himself with the back of his hand.
You picked up Phoenix at a good time, because rent is due, and I need a new scratching post.
So our next story comes to us from, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Haaretz, which is a newspaper in Tel Aviv.
That is in Israel.
Yes. We've recently covered stories. So the way Mike can identify numbers, can you identify cities and their country of origin?
Well,
Brian?
I do know that Tel Aviv is where they got the term TV from.
I don't think that's true, but it could be.
Well, it would be. Don't you think it'd be? It's a mistake that somebody hasn't opened up a place that makes TVs in Tel Aviv or a television store and call it Television.
I don't think that's a mistake.
I do.
All right.
It's a mistake. Okay. It's only not a mistake if you don't want to make money.
So it is a mistake if you want to make money.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be a mistake if you want to make money to not call your television and television repair store Television.
Well, maybe people who are from Tel Aviv are called Televisians.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Might be confusing.
We've recently covered stories about both rats and brain cells being taught to play video games.
Yeah.
But researchers at Ben Gurion University have gone beyond this and taught goldfish to drive a mobile fish tank.
Well, there's science fraudsters all over the world, aren't there?
Yeah.
The tank is fitted with wheels and a camera that monitors the fish's location in the tank. When the fish is next to one of the sides with its head in that direction, the FOV, or fish-operated vehicle, turns in that direction. In just 10 days, the fish learned to drive the vehicle and steer it to a colorful plastic target that, when the tank touches it, rewards them with a treat. Researchers then placed the FOV at various locations around the room, and fish were able to locate the target and steer the FOV to it within a matter of seconds. One researcher said, quote, "Up to now, a fish had to use its muscles to get to a certain place, but in the new experimental environment, it did this without swimming, completely the opposite of its natural instincts." Of course, the fish still had to swim to the edge of the tank to steer it, so it did use its muscles in swimming.
I don't believe it. This is made up bullshit. This is.
Well, don't fish swim into the current all the time so they don't have to use their muscles to get somewhere? I mean, this is ridiculous. This is not.
It's just not true. It just didn't happen. It's not true. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's real fucking hard to have a guy right behind the camera playing with the remote control on the fucking thing.
Well, it's hard to make the fish swim into the corner.
And is it going in the direction that they swim to?
Yeah. So they swim over to the edge, and
Right.
then the fish tank goes in that direction.
That doesn't mean that there's any intent to move a vehicle. It just means the fish swam and near something.
Right, but then they give it a target to swim to, and it swims to that target. Get treats.
Some basic thing in its brain is trying to get there. If that's the truth. If there's not a guy fucking hiding in the corner, buck naked probably, with a little remote control showing it where to go. I'm like, I'll mess it up just a little bit because it's believable.
Let me ask you something. What if that guy, instead of being naked, was wearing a cat costume?
No, because then Phoenix would be making that come to him. He'd be like,
he wants the fish.
Phoenix wants to put that fish in his mouth and then pull out just a perfect set of bones.
Right. Yeah. I've been watching a lot of Tom and Jerry lately. It stands up. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, the old Tom and not the.
Oh yeah.
There's bad Tom and Jerry, but I know what you're saying.
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
This seems similar to a scientist being surprised that a dolphin were to pleasure itself on a wriggling eel.
Yeah.
It just seems
that's
like
more surprising
you know about
than
dolphins.
Just like, a dolphin have a clitoris? Oh shit, man.
Yeah.
What happens if I rub it real quick?
You dead.
This next story is a bonus story.
Bonus.
It was submitted to us by both Mike Wiebe and Philip Pampers. But
the great Philip Pampers.
But I will give everybody a preview. This story will upset Brian very much. He may leave the show. And if you want to hear his utter disgust and outrage, then I recommend going to our Patreon and subscribing at least the $3 Knights of Kevin level, and you can listen to Brian self-destruct.
That's a bold claim, but I think you're going to be surprised at how well water sheds from this duck's back.
He might just vomit all over his lap.
So this episode airs on January 26th. Does anybody have anything coming up?
January. Look at my calendar. Hang on.
By anyone, I just meant Mike.
Now, hang on. I'm looking at my calendar. I'm going to see.
Brian might have something.
No, I do not. I do not have.
Mike's got Magnificent coming up, right?
No, it's called Excelsior, and it's every week, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. at the Buzzmill on East 7th Street. And let's see, what else? Oh, well, I believe me and Mark Ryan are playing a show together on February. If he were here, he would be able to plug it too. But
there you go. The knife just goes a little bit deeper, doesn't it?
Yep. Yeah, I'm going up to Denton and Mark's new band, Vidicon, who I'm reading that book that he got that name from. It's a lot of killing in it.
Nice.
Let's see.
And I will be at that show as well as an audience
Friday
member.
the 25th. Yes, me and Ian are doing the variety. We're calling it the Variety Show, but we need to probably get a new name. And then Mark's going to be there too. And
where's that at?
Rubber Gloves.
Oh,
Rubber Gloves in Denton, Texas. Is it in the same location by the Morrison Corn Kits building?
Pan kits, biscuits, corn kits, and Mexi kits.
Mexi kits, that's right.
Yeah,
because they used to have now the big neon sign doesn't work at all.
Well, yeah, they got too expensive, and so they turned it off.
And for a while, it was just corn kits all the time. But when I was a kid, it would flash between corn kits, pan kits, biscuits, and Mexi kits.
Yeah.
You know, the city should pay them to run that for about 2 hours every night.
Well, people have been talking about just paying for it and putting up big like LED lights that would be way cheaper.
Yeah.
And just being like, we'll pay you like $200 or whatever.
I remember like seeing that driving home from seeing E.T. or something like that.
Just so the audience knows, Denton, Texas has one famous landmark, and it's a giant grain building, industrial grain building that's like 100 years old with a big sign on top. It's for Morrison's.
Off of Bell and McKinney, I believe.
Off of Bell and McKinney, within walking distance of my house.
And Rubber Gloves. So if you're a stalker,
I will be walking to Rubber Gloves that night.
Yes. It might be murdering time.
Feel free to try to follow me home.
Evan, can we stay at your house that night? Me and Ian.
Oh, yeah, sure. So you can follow all three of us home now.
Yeah.
So I think that wraps up another week of the International News Service. Find us across social media at International News Pod. Email us at internationalnewspod@gmail.com. Tell your arsonist cat to start a fire in our honor. Check out our merch store at Redbubble and our Patreon. We'll see you next week.
Oh, you're talking about Phoenix?
Yes.
Thank you for listening to the International News Service. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. INS, the news you need.